think any deeper. It just seems here's some wise guy with his wise-ass stories, and that's not true. But the problem with readers, the idea we're given of reading is that the model of a reader is the person watching a film, watching television. So the greatest principle is that I should sit here and I should be entertained. And the more classical model, which has been completely taken away, is the idea of a reader as an amateur musician. So an amateur musician sits at a piano, has a piece of music, which is the work made by somebody they don't know, who they probably couldn't comprehend entirely, and they have to use their skills to play this piece of music. The greater the skill, the greater the gift that you give the artist and that the artist gives you. That's an incredibly unfashionable idea of reading. And yet when you practice reading and you work at a text, it can only give you what you put into it. It's an old moral, but it's completely true.
I think that especially now, this was once known, that the reading of novels and poetry was instruction in how to be human.
Yeah. Well, there's this great, Aristotle called it education of the emotions. That is dealing with texts which aren't moral philosophy, which aren't in a rational form, which aren't math. The material of the human, the material of narrative, basically. It's become so extraordinarily unfashionable, and when I try and talk about it, I get accused of suggesting these very banal ideas, like only good men write good books, or you need to know a man's life to understand his fiction. It's nothing to do with that, but good reading is an analogy of good living, because it takes all kinds of sensitivities, commitments, beliefs, passivity, all kinds of different qualities to understand when you pick up, say, Pride and Prejudice, what is going on in that book, not just on the superficial level of its plot and character, but what it believes, that book. Austen does it in a quite simple and beautiful way. Other writers do it in an incredibly complicated way. And the complexity of that is a real education of the emotions and the education of the heart, and it's very hard to get that education elsewhere. A small theoretical text gives you an idea of beauty and makes an argument which you have to come to with your rational mind. And then a novel can make exactly the same case, but it does it in a different way, and those procedures are vital. They're really important to becoming a human being. Becoming a human being isn't just something which you get with your birth. It's an exercise, and it takes your whole life.